Welcome to the Swyft Robotics Swyft Ascend Telescoping Elevator Assembly Guide. Today we are going to be assembling one of these new high-performance elevators specifically designed for FTC and FRC applications. Before watching this video, we recommend you go ahead and watch the CAD and Cut guide for the Swyft Ascend elevator. That's going to show you how you can CAD your elevator and the different extension and retraction lengths you might want to get out of your elevator. And that will show you which length you need to cut these three extrusions to. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these extrusions, and we'll be right back. Now we have all three of our extrusions cut to length. For the next step, we will only be needing this black extrusion. So I'm going to put the middle extrusion and the inner extrusion off to the side for now. We are going to be installing these top plates onto this black extrusion. So the first step we need to do is take these 1032 flathead bolts and stick them in the large countersunk holes in the plate, like so. And on the other side of the plate, we will want to put one of the 1032 1-inch long standoffs. So it looks like that. Now I'm going to speed up the video until I get all 8 of these done. Now I have all 8 of the standoffs in the top plate. Next, I am going to grab the shortest bolt we have, and we're going to put it in these 4 holes. The 4 holes that are countersunk away from the name. So don't use these top 2, only use these bottom 4. And you're going to take the included Allen key and fully screw them down. Like that. And the back side should look a little bit like that. So I'm going to do the same exact thing with these 3 as well. So now I have all 4 of those smaller screws in. I would also check the back side to make sure all of them look to be the same exact length. Next, we are going to take our black extrusion and look at the side with the 4 holes on it. And you're going to match up the big bearing hole to the side with the slot. And you're going to press the plate down so the 4 screws you just put in align to those 4 holes. So it should look something like that. Make sure that the plate is flush with the tube. Next, what we are going to do is take the other side of the plate and put them on the top and use the same exact screws as before. At this point, you can fully tighten these screws down. I'd recommend using Loctite and the included Allen key. I'm going to speed up the video until I've done all 8. So now I have all 8 of those screws in on both sides, and it should look something a little bit like that. Next, we are going to take the same short screws as before and screw them in to the same bottom holes as before. So once again, don't use the holes next to the Swyft Ascend name, use the bottom 4 ones. Next, I can take the screw size that is 3rd from the shortest, and we are going to use the holes that we previously left open and just slightly screw them in about 2 to 3 rotations. Like that. And I'm going onto the other side and do the exact same thing. Just screw them in 2 to 3 rotations. Like that. Now we have the top plate assembly complete. A couple more things to note is that these two holes are super useful if you're mounting the plates to a Rev Max Planetary Gearbox or a Vex Versa Planetary Gearbox. These 9 grid holes are 1032 tapped if you want to attach this plate to something. You also have 1032 through holes here and here. Next, we are going to take the included rope and we are going to measure to the halfway point of the rope. So I'm just going to take the 2 ends and with my fingers unravel it until I find the middle of the rope. So this is the middle of the rope, and at the middle point of the rope, I am going to cut it in half. Like this. So now I have 2 pieces of rope that are equal in length. Next, what I'm going to do is take this plate that looks a little bit like a butterfly. I'm going to take one of my pieces of rope and stick it through this hole of the plate, like that. And I am going to tie 2 knots. Now, these knots are pretty easy. All you got to do is make a loop like that. And put your rope in like that and tighten. So that's 1. And I'm going to do that exact same process to make this knot a little bit bigger. Same loop and tighten again. So you get something like that. The idea is that this rope cannot pull through this plate now. And I'm going to then take the other side of my rope, stick it through the other hole, and do the exact same process. Make the loop, put the rope through, tie 1 knot, make another loop, and tie a second knot. So it should look something a little bit like this. Next, I'm going to take my inner extrusion. This is the smallest one. And we are going to push the knots into the end of the extrusion. This can be a little bit of a hassle, but usually you can just push it in, and then I recommend taking an Allen key and then pushing it in a little bit further. And do the same thing with both sides of the rope. Like so. And now we're going to take this plate and put the plate up against the end of the extrusion. Next, we're going to take the 3rd largest screw size. We're going to take 4 of these screws, and we're going to screw them in to the extrusion. Please make sure you watched the video guide on how to CAD and cut your extrusion, because you need to make sure that these 4 holes are tapped. So I'm going to come back after I've done that and installed the screws. So now you should have these 4 screws installed in the end. I would also pull the ropes to make sure the knots are at the very end. We can go ahead and set this aside for now. And we are going to grab the middle extrusion. We also want to grab these pulley blocks. One of the pulley blocks has the pulley towards the outside of the block, and one of them has it a bit more towards the inside of the block. We want the one towards the inside of the block for right now. That one. You can choose to install this on either side of your middle extrusion. You're going to want to put it so the pulley is on the opposite side of the holes, like this. And you're going to want to take the second from your longest screw and put them in like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and screw those in, and I'll come back when they're done. Now we have all four of those screwed in. Just to double check, make sure the pulley is on the side without the holes in the extrusion. Next, what we're going to do is take the inner extrusion, and we're going to take one side of the rope, and we're going to feed it into the middle extrusion. So now the rope is through the middle extrusion, and what we're going to do is you have to feed that rope through the pulley. You can use an Allen key to help you out with this step, and then you're going to want to pull the rope. So it's a little bit like that. And now you can keep pulling the rope. Next, what we're going to do is you are going to want to rotate this extrusion around so the rope going into the tube is on the side away from the holes. So we're going to put it in like this. So the rope going into the tube is on the side away from all those holes. Like that. Additionally, when you put the rope through, make sure that the other side of the rope, this side, stays into this slot. And you're going to put the extrusion all the way through. And you can go ahead and pull on the rope on the other side to get rid of all the tension. So now we should have the rope looking a little bit like this. Make sure that you don't have a big knot on the end of here. Next, what we're going to do is install the steel balls inside of the channel. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to take these steel balls and install them into the slots of the extrusion. This can be a somewhat tedious and challenging process, but I can give you some tips to make it a little bit easier. Based on the calculator in the CAD and cut video, you'll know how many steel balls you want to add. The more steel balls you add, the stronger the slide will be, and it will better hold up to load, and it'll have less wobble. A good starting point is about 30 steel balls per slot, but you can go up to about 60. You have enough to go up to about 60 of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to partially extend the inner stage, and I'm going to prop up the I'm going to use the outer stage to prop up the middle stage. So now when I put a steel ball in, it will roll down. Gravity will cause it to roll down. And I'm going to count every single time one of them goes in. It's somewhat important that all of them have around the same, so you don't have uneven loading of the hard stops. But it's not exactly necessary to get them all exactly correct. But I'm going to try to do that. So we have one of them in already. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Sometimes they get a little bit stuck. You just have to push them in. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And now I'm going to move on to the next one. This might be a little bit difficult to see. 31, or sorry, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and that one will make it 30. So now I have 2 of the slots done, and what I'm going to do now is rotate the extrusion around to do the bottom side. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sometimes it can be useful to move the slide. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That will be 16. Oops. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And this should be 30 once I push that one in the right spot. Okay, so now we have 3 out of the 4 slots filled, and we just need 30 on this last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So now we have 30 in each slot. It's okay if you lose some of the steel balls. We do provide quite a few extras. Next, what we're going to do is take the other pulley. Make sure that this is the one that has the pulley up against the end. And I'm going to rotate this extrusion back to the top. Like that. And we are going to take the end of this rope and feed it through the pulley. Like that. You can use an Allen key if it's having some issues. And this time the pulley is going to be facing the side with all the holes. Like that. And once again, we're going to use the second to the largest size of screw and screw this block in. Now I'm going to cut until I have fully screwed this block into place. Now I have all 4 of those screws in place. You can go ahead and extend your slide and make sure it's pretty smooth. Just make sure that when you're retracting it, make sure that the rope in the bottom here does not get caught. So when you retract it, you do want to pull on this rope to retract it. Next, we are going to be installing the middle stage into the outer stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the outer stage, and I'm going to take the middle stage, and the side with the holes is going to go towards the side with the big bearing hole, because there will be a sprocket in here eventually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this side of the rope with the way it extends, just leave that out for now. But the bottom side, you're going to want to push that rope against the channel in the extrusion, like this. Because what can happen is that if you don't push this in, when you're putting the middle slide inside of the outer slide, the rope can get caught, kind of like that. So you just want to make sure that the rope is in the channel. Also make sure that you don't have any knots in the bottom. So I'm going to fully pull this, and I'm going to check to make sure that there are no knots. And then I'm going to take it and holes towards bearing hole, and I'm going to slide it in just like that. Next thing we have to do is add, once again, add the steel balls in these 4 slots. So the top plates add a little bit as it props the whole thing up a little bit, so the balls will naturally roll down. But I do recommend putting your elevator like this, so at least the first 2 ones you put, the first 2 channels you fill with steel balls, have a little bit easier for time rolling down. So once again, I'm going to use 30. You don't have to get these exact, but try to get them roughly correct. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We might need a little bit more gravity to help them down. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Oops, and I think I accidentally put an extra one in there. But that's okay. Unlike the previous step, we're going to go ahead and you can use this screw and fully screw it down, and that will keep the steel balls rolling out of the channel now. So now I'm going to go ahead and fill up the next channel. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and one more will make 30. And once again, after you're done filling up that one, fully screw this in. You can tighten it later. And we're going to flip around. Oops. We're going to flip around to the other side. You can already see how smooth this is. You can flip around to the other side and start with the final two slots. One, two, three, four. Five, six, seven, eight. That one will make it 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 'We just need one more to make it 30. And once again, tighten down the screw. And now we can go ahead and fill the last slot. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I think that's 20, maybe it's 21. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and number 30. Okay, and once again, fully tighten the screw now. And now there is, the balls cannot come out now. And in the next step, we will attach the rope. But for right now, fully tighten these screws in with the included Allen key. Next step, what we're going to do is attach the ropes. So I'm going to take the rope on the side without the bearing hole, and we are going to make a loop in that rope. So the first thing I'm going to do is fully pull the rope. I would also extend this stage a little bit because the rope can get caught on the bottom. Just make sure that when you extend the stage and then pull the rope, the stage does go back to make sure there's just no knots in it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a loop kind of like this, and it's going to be a little bit like tying your shoes. We make a loop and we make another loop. And for this, I would recommend you extend your first stage about 2 to 3 inches. This will make it, when you make the loop here, it goes, and when you push it in, it goes closer to the stage. So it looks a little bit like that. And when you push this in, the knot goes pretty close to the opening of the stage. And you can also use one of the Allen keys to fully tighten your knot. Like that. And now we're going to take one of the zip ties and we're going to push it through this bottom standoff, or under the bottom standoff, into the knot and loop it around. And for now, we can just leave it a little bit loose. And then we're going to go to the other side. And what we're going to do is take the other side of the rope and feed it under this standoff here. So I'm just going to feed it a little bit like that. And then pull it like that. So it looks a little bit like that. Next, what I'm going to do is go ahead and make a loop in the rope again, like the previous step. So you have a loop, and we're going to zip tie now to this bottom standoff, like that. And now tighten this standoff a little bit, and then we can fully wrench down on that zip tie and go to the other side and fully tighten down on the zip tie. Now, as you load your elevator, you might have to come back and tighten this back zip tie a little bit more. If you climb with it, the rope will get a little bit more loose, and you could probably have to tighten it some more. At this point too, you can go ahead and I would leave a little bit of rope and then cut off the rest of it. You can also cut off most of your zip tie, but I would leave a little bit so that when you load your elevator, the rope will stretch a little bit. And you're leaving a little bit of rope too, just in case you need to tie that loop somewhere else. And if your zip tie is already fully tied, you can go ahead and just cut it off completely, like so. Next, what we're going to do is install the bearings. So take the 1/2-inch hex bearing, press it into the hole, grab your 1/2-inch hex axle, also put it in the bearing hole, and then on this side, you're going to take your 1/2-inch hex spacer, push it in, and the sprocket, you're going to have it come from over top, like that. And then you might have to wiggle around your sprocket a little bit to get it to align to the holes in the slide, and then put the spacer on the other side and cap it off with another bearing. So it looks something like that. So now, when you go ahead and extend your slide, it has a cascading motion, and it spins the sprocket as well. Next, you can install the optional tube mount in the top here, using the second to the largest screws. But that is completely optional. If you want to use the elevator in the one-stage configuration, you can just get rid of all the rope and not put in the inner stage. We do recommend, if you're using it in the one-stage configuration and you want to put more than 100 pounds on it, that instead of using the tube mount block, you drill holes into the middle stage. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and grease the slide. So this is white lithium grease. You can use other types of grease, but most robotics teams have white lithium grease. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on all 8 of the slots. And I'm going to put it more towards the bottom, like this. So that way, when it runs in and out, the grease will be distributed. Oops, I used a little bit too much there. And I'm going to rotate the whole thing down and also grease the other side. The grease will help if you have a large amount of load on the elevator to keep the steel balls rolling smoothly. Like that. Next, I'm going to go ahead and install the tube mount. Depending on which way you want your elevator to go, you might want to install it this way, or you might want to install it that way. Now I've installed the tube block mount. You'll notice that there is some gap left here. That is intentional. You could cut down your tube a little bit more, your inner stage, like we did here if you want a full flush mount. We found that leaving a little bit of space helps, because if you fully slam down your elevator, it could damage some components. So adding a little bit of space there does seem to help a little bit. But you can cut it if you need. Other than that, it is an extremely smooth elevator. As you load it, you will likely need to tighten the zip tie a little bit more. But other than that, it is complete. You can use these 2 holes if you want to put a Rev Max planetary gearbox on, or a common configuration of these elevators are going to be if you have 2 like this, and you put an axle through all of them, and if you have this tube mount rotated around, you could then put a tube on top of this, so it kind of acts like a box elevator then. Other than that, we have 9 tapped holes here on each side. These are 1032 tapped holes for mounting to your robot. Also, in our configurator, we left some space. The outside tube is a little bit longer than the other ones, so that you could drill holes in the side of here. So the idea is that you want to mount using drilling holes to the bottom of this, and you want to mount by attaching stuff to the top plate of this. And that should create a pretty structural mount. We do not recommend drilling holes in the side of here because you will end up hitting a bunch of components, which might not be nice. You could drill a hole if you get in the pretty exact middle. You could drill a hole if you wanted to put a safety pin in there and lock the entire elevator assembly. That's pretty common if you have a constant force spring elevator assembly, but this one is driven both ways with no springs, so it's not as necessary. But yeah, other than that, please reach out to us on our support Discord. We are online almost 24/7 to help you out with these. We are super excited about this product. Thank you for purchasing, and please let us know if you need any help.